crush both tires. I'm stuck on the side of the road. I'm like, holy crap.
You hear the machine tear loose from the ratchet straps, and you hear wham! All right, welcome back to the podcast where Adam and I just wing everything.
Yep.
So,
Winging it.
I will say we have to start with something. Well, first off, like this video, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff.
Got books, y'all.
If you comment down below, we are going to give away a copy of $100 million leads from Alex Hormozi. Just comment down below, share the podcast, and then say, done. We'll pick a winner, and I'll let you know who won, and we'll send you a copy of this book because we have some extras. We're going to do some giveaways here and there, so go ahead and do that for us. But the request was from someone that has been watching our podcast, said, I need to hear the story about how Adam made a bunch of money, like 10x his money.
Well, I've made money a bunch of different ways, but we're talking about the rack story, right? We're talking about the rack story. All right, well, okay. So we'll just dive in. I'll try and speed notes through this one a little bit. I like to play around with auctions every now and then. So, we got a Hobart mixer. Yeah, we got a pretty dope mixer. I used to just play around with it, would mess around with returned at Amazon things, just piddling, truthfully. But I found a jeweler's safe. Well, really, it was a pharmacy safe. So anyways, let me back up and say that there was a grocery store, a Publix, going out of business or moving or something. And instead of moving all their stuff, they auctioned off everything. All the way down to the racks and everything. So I bid on the safe, 2 safes actually, won both of those, and bid on what I thought was a rack. I bid on 4 of them thinking, oh, cool, if I get these, it'll be good. Well, I didn't notice that one of them was a lot of 100. And I also didn't realize that I was bidding per rack because everything else was individualized lots. So it was like, here's a picture of a rack. It's one of them. Somehow I didn't get the 3, but I got the 100, and I got them at $9 a rack, and these are bakery racks.
Right. We pay ours are custom fab now, so we pay way more than that. But the ones he's talking about are probably somewhere like $120,
yeah,
$150,
yeah, right.
On what kind they are,
Yeah, so I did a quick thing. I realized when I got the thing, hey, you won. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't even think anything of it. It was a real simple email. I'm worried about the safes because they're heavy, right? So I got that beefy ass pallet and all those other things, getting ready to rig it. And they reach out and they're like, hey, man, this will go into the story later, but hey, we got a rigging service here, right? So we paid for the rigging service, or I paid for the rigging service. And then I get down to the part of the email where it's like, I've got 100 racks to pick up. And I'm like, oh, shit, I don't. And then I'm just like, screw it. I got them $9 a piece, right? I'll do something with them. All right, well, fast forward.
Well, 100 racks would be like, I wouldn't say it's a semi, but it fills up a box truck real fast.
Yeah, I had a big old 24-foot gooseneck trailer that I was taking down there with me. But it was open sides, but I was just strapped down and everything.
Yeah. I don't even know if all 100 racks.
I don't either, right? I don't either. I was going to get creative, but again, at $9 a rack, I figured, hey, if I leave some or just whatever. Really, I had a landscape business at the time, and I was like thinking, hey, man, rolling racks are useful for anything. So we were going to put them on the trucks, put things in them. I don't even know.
Oh, and you reached out to me too, and you're like,
hey, you need any racks, bro? But yeah. So, anyways, the Tampa Pro, a bodybuilding show was going on, so I was like, hey, I'll go down there, check out the bodybuilding show, get my stuff. Well, the address that I put in my phone was like the actual auction office address. So then I'm like, oh shit, this is not the pickup. I'm going through my email. Anyways, I'm like, screw it, I'll just call. So I call Publix, like the distribution site, and they didn't really know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, hey, I got all these bakery racks, yada, yada. They take down my information, and I don't think anything of it. I'm on the way down to Tampa, and I get a phone call from somebody that's like, hey, I heard you're trying to sell bakery racks. And I'm like, no, I'm actually trying to pick up bakery racks. And they're like, well, we don't have any bakery racks. Like, we need bakery racks. And I was like, well, I'm going to pick up bakery racks. I'm confused at this time because I'm like, I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Anyways, long story short, we hashed out the details on the way down there. And yeah, they paid me right about between $100 and $110 a piece on average for all of them.
Yeah. And so you didn't even have to touch them.
I didn't even touch them. I just told them where they were. And it was the most ironic thing to see a Publix distribution truck pull up to a Publix store to load the racks that I bought.
Yeah. So he bought racks from Publix and resold it.
Yeah,
to
I
Publix.
wish I could claim that like that was all engineered. I knew what I was doing from the get. I've knowing that they do it now, though, I imagine you could easily get some stuff under contract. I guess we do it in real estate, right? We wholesale something.
So essentially, you spent about let's just say $1,000 on racks, and you sold them for
a little over 10 grand.
A little over 10 grand. Yeah.
Yep. Yay, me, right? Yeah. So anyways, all told, though, the other side of this, I don't know if we've talked about this, but on the way back from Tampa, that rigging company.
He had all this. He got the safe, which how much did the safe weigh? Do you know?
Thousands. It was mess around, F around, and find out how long it takes to get in. It was, one of them was a opiate safe. So store over opiates overnight. Right. So I imagine pretty secure, very heavy. And then the other one was a shorter, fatter, like drop safe, I forget what they called it, like some kind of tool rating. But again, it was sort of like if you have a jackhammer and a torch and 12 hours, you can probably get in it. But
right.
Anyways, so the big one was good. It was laid in a way that it couldn't really fall over. The small fat one, which I didn't think anything of, it was on a wooden pallet that was just tied down better than you can imagine. But I did not. I goofed. I neglected to think the structural integrity of the pallet it was on because of the weight. So as tight as I've got this thing strapped down to the trailer, I'm going off an on-ramp or going down an off-ramp, and it's kind of got one of those turns at the bottom, and the thing just rolls over. And to put it in perspective of how much it weighed, it's like a desk height safe-ish with a little spout sticking up. It falling over onto the fender, crush the fender, crush both tires, or crush both of the dually tires on the one and pop somehow the fender or something popped the outside. Anyways, I'm stuck on the side of the road. I'm like, holy crap, I don't know how to get anything anywhere. I'm glad I didn't have all those racks on there. The trailer is useless. Anyways, got a wrecker. He came and helped me.
Yeah.
Dude was a champ. He was a cowboy. I mean, he was like lassoing this thing and driving it all over the road. We had to partially close the on-ramp. Surprised cops didn't show up, but we had this thing locked down for like 40 minutes.
Yeah. I think it's just that kind of goes back to like entrepreneurship that you just kind of like have to figure some things out. Like no one's coming to save you.
Yeah, I mean, no one's coming. No one's coming. People are just driving by going, no one is even going to stop with that much, because unless you've got like an excavator behind you or own a large piece of machinery, you can't help me, buddy. You can give me a ride somewhere, but I don't even know what that's going to do.
Yeah.
Take me to a construction site, please, so I can bribe somebody to bring their excavator over
here. Yeah, you're in unfamiliar territory.
Well, and the whole time I'm thinking, damn, if I was in Panama City, I got a 20-ton excavator. I can come yank this thing over with, but nope, I'm in Tampa.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but there's your story for the people that were asking about how Adam 10x'd his money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll have to talk about Sonic drive-ins and other different things.
Well, I think all that money probably just paid for fixing the trailer.
Yeah, net. I don't know that I walked away positive at all, man. Again, luckily because of the type of businesses I was in, had a gang of guys that could kind of do just a little bit of everything. So, but we had to buy new and hubs and all kinds of stuff. Damn sure had to buy new tires. Damn sure had to buy a new fender.
Yeah,
fun stuff. But got to go see a bodybuilding show. Got a couple safes. Wound up selling them. Didn't even keep them. But anyway.
Well, I mean, good thing you sold those racks for so much money.
Yeah, so right. Well, that would have been a kick in the balls. Well, I'm over here, and y'all, it's another thing too. Like, just don't be humble, because hell yeah, I'm down in Tampa. I'm still making money at the time, but I'm thinking, I got an uncashed check. This is on the way back from Tampa, by the way, y'all. So like, I'd had a good weekend. I'm like, yeah, I didn't like blow a lot of money or anything, but I'm thinking like, oh, I could if I want to, but I'm pretty good about that. The ability to spend money works most of the time for me if I have it. And then on the way back, dude, I wasn't 20 minutes outside of that place.
Like, newsflash, yeah,
boom. And it's one of those things, you see it, and like I remember watching it, and like even in my brain going like, maybe I should just like try to like jerk it back, because it was like this slow, and I'm like, no, what is happening?
So speaking of that like slow, oh no moment, I know I've told this story before, but not on the podcast, when Ben Lawson worked for me, and we got our very first flow wrapper from China.
Oh, okay.
Like, at this point in time, Fat and Weird was like starting to do better, but we were not anywhere near where we are now, obviously. And I remember like looking at flow wrappers, and I remember I think I told you that, I was seeing like $60,000, $80,000 for flow wrappers. And I'm like, I can't do that. But then in China, it was like 12 grand, 15 grand.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like shipped and everything. Right. So I was like, oh, okay. I bet you I can figure this out. So we ordered this flow wrapper. It gets delivered to my parents' warehouse, like this crate. And so we loaded into one of their box trucks, and we're just going to like a mile down to that other place. So we load in there, and it's a stick shift, and Ben drives a stick every day. And I'm like, I can drive a stick shift, but Ben, you drive every day. So you just drive the stick shift.
Sure.
Well, I guess he wasn't used to like a box truck stick shift and the air brakes.
Oh, okay.
So as we're going, he like just like hits the brakes real hard all of a sudden, and you hear the machine tear loose from the ratchet straps, and you hear wham, and I'm like, just pull into this pull into our parking lot, because we were literally right there. We pull in, we open it up, and it is like punched a hole through the wall in the like closest to the cab. So like, forward part of it, it's punched a hole right through, busted rivets out, and I'm like, shit. And so now I'm like already not in a great mood, right?
Oh yeah.
So we roll the machine to the back of the truck, and it has a lift gate, right? And so as we're rolling it onto the lift gate, I feel like it starts to get away from Ben, and it's like going, and so he's trying to hold on to it as hard as he can, but I see that like he's not gonna be able to do it. And I'm not going to get under. I mean, it's too heavy. Like, it would literally have killed me. Like, it would crush me. Like, I don't know how much it weighed, but it was more than the mixers. Like, it was probably 3,000 or 4,000 pounds.
Bro, you don't want a couple 100 pounds come crashing down on you.
So I just watch Ben just go, and just let go. And this thing just from the back of a box truck to the ground just hits that ground, And this is, like I said, like a $15,000 machine.
I haven't heard this story. Keep going. I love it.
And I was like, oh my God, like, what are we going to do? So we get it stood back up. Me and Ben like kind of like deadlift this thing to like stand it back up. Obviously,
anger muscle.
Yeah. We roll it to the like concrete through this like gravel parking lot. You know how that.
Not easy. Right.
We get to the edge of the concrete, and I need to lift up onto the concrete. And then we got to like, kind of like shimmy it onto the concrete. I remember at one point I lifted down to get it under the concrete, and it started sinking, and my hand was stuck between it.
Oh, and that's a scary feeling. I've had that happen.
I don't know how to explain this feeling, but I thought, like I'm
about to cut your hand.
Yeah,
off.
I'm gonna lose my fingers. Yeah. Like I'm gonna lose these fingers.
Right.
I remember telling Ben, I was like, Ben, and like Ben just like literally just like pushed as hard as he could, and I skinned my fingers like on the concrete, like pulling them out like so fast. Yeah. But that's when I was like, we gotta stop. Like we're just
you get mad and you start moving fast for sure.
And I was like, so we went next door, and it was like BVA Communications. They do all of the contract work for a while.
Yeah.
And there was this guy next door, and I was like, bro, I got $20. Can you drive your forklift over here and just like lift this thing up onto this? He's like, yeah, sure. So I handed him $20. He got the forklift, came next door, put it on there, right? And we ended up getting that machine in
Heck
there.
Yeah.
And then I spent like 4 months trying to get the machine to work. It always kind of sort of worked, but never worked well, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when we ended up trading it.
You dropped it.
Well, yeah.
Oh, for the sweet little ditty we got now.
But I will tell you,
actually, since we messed with that thing, though, it works way better.
I know. Well, we spent a lot of time getting to know that machine.
Stressing Zach out.
But they ended up giving me $9,000 for the machine in a swap, because they're like, we can figure this out, and like we can get it to work.
Okay.
They said like some customer is going to want a cheapo machine, and we can get it to work for them, you know?
So I feel like you work on enough stuff. That's what they do. You work on enough stuff, it all goes down.
So I wasn't out a lot of money, but the truth is I wish I would have just like went with a better machine in the get-go. And
buy once, cry once. If you can get there, man, it sucks. But
at some of the prices that we're seeing on machinery.
Well, yeah, I say that. I lived that way, and I really adopted that with the U.S. Lawn stuff, you know, because we would try to get the like B- commercial quality, but then I got
how much is an excavator?
Oh, and like our excavator was like 200 and something grand.
Why is an excavator so much cheaper than a freaking servo crimper?
I don't know, because there's more people that make them. Because if we were to open up our equipment and show you what's inside them, and Riser, we love you guys, but like there ain't nothing in your machines. It's this gigantic box with it's a big pump in it.
Vacuum
it's just
pump,
a
yeah.
pump.
Yeah.
It's like a pump with a bowl on the top.
So speaking of just like that stuff, I think the biggest thing that shocked me was the cost of manufacturing equipment.
Woo!
You know, like I mentioned the flow wrapper at like $60,000. You know, the truth is like, then you can add on, you know, a nitrogen flush system, a labeling system and stuff. So like this $60,000 flow wrapper, it's like a car, you know, the base model, the premium model is like $120,000, right? And then that's not even, and we're talking about like loading out an Altima.
That's actually a great analogy though, man, because like, yeah, well, you want to buy it from the dealer. Yeah. Or do you want to get it and do it yourself?
Right.
You can save money, but you can also do a lot of things wrong.
Right.
Or then do you want to have like
a warranty?
Or there's places you can send it and have somebody else do it, or they come in and aftermarket do it.
And also there are levels to it too, right? Like I would say that our riser machines are like Bugattis.
Yes.
I'm not even going to say they're
we
like
have the
Mercedes.
best of the best.
They're like Bugatti.
Yes,
you
we
know?
do.
They're like
German.
Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, these are imported. These are top of the freaking line.
But you know, just to put it in perspective, like the servo crimper, we just got a quote for a servo crimper for our expansion. So we're still like well over a year out. And I mean, it's not $1 million, but it's like 990,000
before tax. Yeah, but before everything else. Yeah, before everything else, it's not. Well, it's 900 and change, and then the upgraded HP and everything.
Oh, yeah, the upgraded HP is 100 something. So it's over $1 million for those two things, but just the servo crimper alone.
Yeah. So for just to put this into perspective, guys, just one part of our cookie line is over $1 million. And that's not including all the equipment we have and all the equipment we'll need in this facility and all of our employees and everything else. So it's, just so y'all know, it's very expensive to get in all the way into this game, but you know, and you will have to dedicate probably a whole podcast to it. You don't have to start here.
No,
you can't unless you come with a lot of money, but you can get here. And, without completely derailing it, another idea for you guys, if you're mechanically minded, these guys that come fix our equipment make a lot of money. I know, because we pay them a lot of money. Yeah. So if you guys have a skill set, if you guys know how to tinker, it's a dying breed. The average age of folks fixing things is getting older and older. So if you're young and you like to toy with things, physical things, man, you can start making a 6-figure job if you can get it and you're willing to travel a little bit. They work, regions and stuff like that. So,
well, you remember one of the guys that was working on our machine was like, they're like, he's supposed to retire, but like no one's there to take
they
over.
won't let him.
Yeah. They're just like, it was weird. Like, you can't retire. Right?
Well, you have pride in it. I mean, even as an employee or whatever, like it's your baby. You want to hand it off to somebody.
Yeah. And I think that really kind of brings me into a topic that, we can talk about that's really business related. So I think some people will enjoy this, but the discussion is like, there's multiple ways to build a brand. And one of those ways is the way that we did it, which is it's slower. It's pouring everything back into it.
That's right.
It's like, just like slowly, scooping away or, cutting away at something. And then there's other ways where it's just like you have a lot of money and you can pour a lot of money into things.
But furthermore too, there's the brand in like just the intellectual property space almost of like, your website's great, your marketing's great, your stuff's on point, but you don't actually make or do anything.
Right.
It's
almost like a business plan brand, right?
Well, like Hydro Jug. They're not actually stamping plastic.
Oh, yeah, right.
Or metal. Not to say they don't, I don't know their ins and outs. I'm sure they have a high level of detail, but like that is being manufactured for you. You are then retailing.
Sour strips.
Sour strips, great example. Having it manufactured for him, and then he's pushing it out to retailers because I don't even know if they sell online. They probably do, but
they do. That's how they started.
Okay, great.
They started online, and then they went into Target. Was their first, I think.
So then that's similar to us, with the exception of we make our own cookies. Now we are looking for partners, and every partner that we can get. But you've done a great job at setting the tone. It kind of hamstrings both of us because we're both a little squirrel minded, but like we can do just about anything.
Yeah.
We're not held up by our co-packers or whatever.
Well, the ability for us to expand and grab co-packers doesn't change how nimble we can be here.
That's right.
So the thing is, like, if we find co-packers that want to work with us to order to like increase our output, that doesn't change the fact that if someone looked at us and go, hey, I need 50,000 of this one cookie, we don't have to spin up a co-packer. We can do it ourselves. And I think that's really, truthfully, where I kind of see our company going, is that this facility is going to be able to output a lot of cookies, but this facility is also going to be able to do limited releases,
right.
Like, LTOs, limited time offers. We're able to do like, if someone calls us and they go, hey, I want this flavor.
Yeah.
From
hey, I got a cool idea.
And now we don't have to call a co-packer and be like, hey, I need you to run 100,000 of this one flavor. Like, we can do that in-house. And I think that really allows us with co-packers to grow quickly, consistently, and then allows us the flexibility to, do what we need to do here to stay like a nimble company.
Yeah. So if y'all know any sweet co-packers out there, let us know, especially if they got a lot of freezer space.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've got some really great ones.
We do, man. We've got a lot of cool things. We're not going to tell y'all who they are. Not going to tell you who they make.
I think we're flying out. I think we're going to be flying next week from talking to Christian, which I think most people have like seen a little bit of Christian be our sales rep. But I think our goal is to fly out next week and be checking out some of these places.
I'm excited too, but really also the sky's the limit, man, because like, who knows, man? We might pop a cereal. We might do something else. Who knows what we're going to do?
Well, and even in the cookie space, we have a lot left to do.
Yeah.
We have box mixes. We have like just the
Cookie Crisp? I'll be the judge of that. Yeah. Okay.
But we have other things that we can do inside the cookie space, if you will.
Yeah, man. We ain't even touched it.
Yeah, which is, white labeling our cookies, white labeling just a completely different, idea for someone else.
Food service.
Yeah. Yeah, the food service market, QSR, the cookie dough bites are, I think, are going to be.
Oh, it's going to, y'all are going to go crazy on those.
So all that stuff. And, we'll be leveraging,
Yeah, the cookie bites are part of why we need that $1 million+ line, but it's going to go gangbusters, dude. Yeah. They're so good. No one dislikes them. We've tried them.
Well, and I think that would be really fun to enrobe, but we
can Well, they do it at every Krispy Kreme. Is that it's an enrober right there for the glazing. So like, it's only this big, and our panning conveyor will throw it through it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Something to think about. Y'all got any ideas? Comment down below.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that falls into our realm that you would love to see, let us know. Because I feel like we're not really competing against people that are already established. I think a lot of people are making, the Ben & Jerry's and the Nestle Toll Houses are making good money, and they're not concerned with innovating. I mean, when's the last time you saw those people really release a new product, right?
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, so, and that's, and see.
Even Oreo changed up flavors, but they haven't released anything new.
You're right. Product innovation is something companies still do okay. But just kind of another thing that, in case you guys aren't aware of, it's almost like an asset creation space in that pick somebody, Ben & Jerry's. Ben & Jerry's can't accurately go out, not with any certainty, and find somebody that's going to go entrepreneur for them.
Yeah.
That's going to put up with the struggles, the heartaches, the da-da-da, and then actually succeed. So no amount of money they can spend on that person, the investment, they don't know it's going to work out. So what they'll do, if you guys can build stuff, if you guys have businesses out there, part of what we had our conversation with, the team with yesterday, but if you can build these things and they're systematized and they're turnkey, these businesses will sell.
Well, yeah. So Hershey's recently bought Dots Pretzels, and I don't even know if that's public knowledge.
Right.
The only reason we know it is we interviewed a guy who was a plant manager for Dots Pretzels, and he was looking for a new job because he didn't like how corporate it became when Hershey's bought it.
I see that.
But I didn't know this, and I don't think you knew it until I told you that Dots Pretzels bought pretzels.
Kirsty knew somehow. My wife actually told me that. But yeah, go ahead.
They bought pretzels already made from a manufacturer, and then they would wash them
and season them,
re-season them, rebake them, and then rebag them. And so what Hershey's did is they bought the manufacturer
they're like, what
Dots Pretzels, and they're essentially putting it all into one facility. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, you have to save an astronomical amount of money.
Yeah.
And then they can still charge the same price that they were charging. So if you can cut your cost in half, Well, now you've just 4x'd your profit.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of these, I don't want to go into too. We've got customers, but these ghost grocery stores that are popping up, man. Think about it. So, like, if you go to Publix and you use, I don't know, DoorDash, one of their services, if the product's in there at $5, you're paying $5.50, $5.75 in the app. There's their margins. They're just giving it up. Well, but they're still going to Publix. Now, they probably have a pre-negotiated. Maybe they pay a little less than the public. Maybe not, because they have the markup. They got the fees. But now, if they can do their own grocery store and they can buy these products, now they prove a concept. So somebody's going to have given them the credit lines to be able to hold these kind of inventories, including us with net 30 terms and everything else. They're taking that $5 product, bringing it down to $3 and change, still selling it to you for $5.50 or $5.75 because you're used to it.
Right. And they just cut out the grocery store's typical 30 to 40% margins, right? So that's
huge.
I don't know if it's for all products.
I don't either.
For most food products, the grocery store is at a 30 to 40% markup. So that, and I'm sure it also depends on the volume that goes through there and a lot of other things, right? Yeah. But if you just say a 30% markup, it's just like that thing you're buying for $10, really was only like $7 that they bought it for, so
they bought a lot.
Yeah, they bought it.
And they're going to buy more. So, that's anything. I wonder what it is across the different things because, like with our frozen product versus like a shelf unfrozen product, the cost to store it for the store is different. And then like a shirt ain't ever going to go bad, but it does really because as soon as people, the seasons change or whatever, they don't want that in their store. So it kind of, it spoils, if you will. They're not going to keep it till next year.
Yeah, I would be curious about that. I know that when I, talked to Max about some sour strip stuff, like I learned a lot about like the slotting fees. So like I know Target used to charge $15 per SKU per store, and I know that they've raised it to $30. And then I also know that like why Max has never been in the checkout lane is because they charge you by the inch.
Per inch.
Yeah. So, that's why you'll notice there's a lot of products that are like,
weirdly skinny and
long
small.
And narrow, right? Yeah. They want to be long like the other way because they're getting charged for the real estate. They're getting charged for the frontage, right?
Yep.
Not the total.
Well, so y'all, and in case that blew past y'all, it's $30 per SKU, so per item. So if you have 4 items, it's 30, 30, 30, 30, right? $120. But per store, right? So if you're trying to roll into 1,000 stores, 2,000 targets, run it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what he said. He said, like, your first PO is like a sucker punch because
get that checkbook ready, boy.
They pull it from the first PO. And so he said it really sucks because, I don't know if he's net 30 with sour strips, but like say you are net 30. So for him, it's even worse than us because I think that we order stuff, we can make it and kind of get it turned around a little bit quicker.
Yep.
His stuff comes from like overseas. So, he has to buy it, get it shipped by the manufacturer, land here, and then shipped out to these Target locations. So it's like he's put that money down 90 days ago, and then to turn around and get a paycheck that's got a huge chunk missing out of it because you've had to pay,
I think we're more nimble, but to kind of compare those two, like, yeah, he may have the stressors of waiting on product or whatever.
Well, yeah, I think it's nice to just look at your manufacturer and be like, I need 10.
That sounds so comforting of just like, hey, need 10,000 of them. Call me in a week.
Yeah.
And not like, who called in? What broke?
Yeah.
The door doesn't work today? Why? So anyways, fun stuff. But it's what makes it exciting too.
Yeah, but again, I think that too, if you want a business that you can sell for a lot more money, when you own your own process, I think you're worth a little bit more because you're, obviously buying a brand is worth something, buying a name behind something that is worth something, buying, the customers and all that stuff. But if you don't own your manufacturing, like the truth is, as stressful as our stuff is, technically someone could look at Max and be like, you know what, we're just not working with you anymore. And
well, yes, they could do that by way of, hi, I want your brand, and I've bought all of your co-packers already.
Right. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
That's completely legal. And if you have deep enough pockets, you can do that. Nobody can do that to us.
Yeah.
you would have to buy every supplier of everything.
Right.
Man.
You'd have to buy Hershey's. And at that point, like, you can buy me.
You
are. Just came to me first because it'd be way cheaper.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to buy every maker of eggs and flour and butter. And, we're just going to pivot too fast. But, like, as far as people that could possibly make, there's probably not a lot of people that can, not a ton of people that can make sour strips at scale. I don't think so. Not in the world.
No.
Haribo's using them, Black Forest, like Twizzler.
Yeah.
You just, and then once you own those, you can get their brand.
Well, I know he has 2 different suppliers, and, I know that, and he has a pretty good volume.
He gets from Germany.
Doors from, no.
Haribo goes from Germany and Turkey. So that's their big suppliers. So just a quick fact for y'all. The ones that are made in Turkey a lot of times use beef gelatin instead of pork gelatin. And
you like those better.
They taste better. They taste different.
Yeah.
They genuinely taste different.
But no, believe it or not, it's not in Germany or those places.
It's in Europe though, right? Overseas?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
They do all candies well.
Yeah.
They just do.
Both
Canada tries.
Both of them are in Europe. Actually.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they got it figured out.
I feel like they've just been doing it longer too.
They have.
Candy. We went to Germany. We toured like this chocolate factory, and like that's a thing. And here, like,
they really have like full on like Wonka-esque situations over there that are pretty cool. But no, like American Candies red vines it. They just like it looks right. But it don't do it.
They had this machine in Germany that would they pour chocolate in and it would like spin like this, and it to make molds, and it was like a giant Easter bunny. It was the one that they were doing, and because we were there in April, but it was funny because like you saw the chocolate go in and then this mold just kind of like spun around and like was coating the edges of this mold to make those like 3D hollow chocolate.
You had like a gyroscope situation where it hits all the sides and then you can pour out the extra.
Yeah. It was really cool to watch. Then they had this giant chocolate fountain there and they were letting you like taste it. And then they had this machine that was making little bitty chocolates. Yeah. And they pressed a button and like one would come out and you could try it. That was a lot of fun touring the chocolate factory in Germany.
Well, we're going to get there. I mean, we have plans to make this place definitely tourable and everything else in the future.
Addition. It's in the addition to
so we'll have the ability to have folks come through here because I know that's one thing that really resonates with Brad and I. Yes, we want to see the smiles on the faces when you eat the cookies. Yes, all of that stuff. Of course, we're entrepreneurs and we want to take it to the moon and make money and all that stuff. But man, when you get to see our facility like in action, it is so cool.
Yeah, I did have you toured Ben Jerry's factory ever?
No.
So Aubrey and I, when we did our road trip,
sure,
we stopped at the Ben Jerry's factory, and I will tell you, it was the best Ben and Jerry's ice cream I'd ever had.
So fresh.
Because it'd never
fresh.
It'd never been refrozen. And they kind of said down the truck, they said, we want it to be good, but the truth is it's frozen here. It kind of defrosts a little bit as you load it onto the next truck, and then it refreezes, and then it kind of defrosts when it gets onto the shelves, and it refreezes. So you're getting a product that's kind of like frozen and unfrozen. And with ice cream, the quicker you freeze it, the smaller the crystals are.
So it's smoother.
So it's smoother, right? And so they do a lot of stuff like minus 40 degrees and things like that. And the holding temperature is supposed to be like minus 15 for ice cream just to keep it like that. But they...
you can tell the difference, man. If you spoon just like glides in that baby, it ain't been... if it's like icy and you got like chip through shit, then it's water. It's water separating. And
that's why like Arctic Zero and Halo Top were always just like kind of... I would find it they were better if you would re-blend them.
Yeah. You just had to pretend Arctic Zero tasted good.
Yeah.
You were like, it's healthy. It's the only one on the market right now.
Well, there was no Ninja Creamy back then where you could just make your own.
Well, there was no anything. Yeah. There was the Arctic Zero was like
ice. I feel bad because they were the first and then they
got whooped is what they got.
Halo
Top and Enlightened.
Oh, Enlightened came along.
Kersey likes Enlightened. I'm hit or miss.
I like Yasso's
their bars.
With the chocolate coating on there, they're like a ton of protein in them.
I don't. Yeah, well, it's Greek yogurt. I don't understand. The freaking macros on those Yasso bars. I'm just gonna believe them. I'm just gonna go.
It has to be real.
It has to be real, right? But it's like this is a lot of flavor for 200 calories, 180 calories, whatever those little bars are.
Yeah. Aubrey and I literally crush one like every night.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I had several of them when I was bodybuilding. I'm dieting. I had several of them like worked into my like 2 or whatever on certain days, and it was like no guilt.
So there's a cheat code for you guys if you haven't tried those Yasso bars. They're really, really good.
Heck yeah.
And my favorite is the coated ones, just because the chocolate shell is really good. And then there's a salted caramel one.
Love it. That's my jam.
And then if I'm getting an uncoated, I really like the fudge brownie. It reminds me of the fudge brownie bars that you could get as a kid.
Oh yeah,
you know. That
the uncoated. You said the uncoated. What is? Yeah, I like those. What is it? One of them that they make all the fat-free stuff, like Health. I can't think of the brand. One of them has like an old school fudge bar frozen situation that is like, it's in the green box. Anyways, it's zero fat. It tastes like nostalgia. It's not great, but it tastes like those old school fudge bars.
You're talking about like from
Publix, yeah, whatever. They have them.
It may be.
It's like the cheap.
It may be. I mean, Breyers has like some fat-free. They're Carb Smarts, or no? That's
I don't know. I'll find out. I'll report back.
Yeah,
but it's pretty good. Oh, salted caramel Yasso bars with pretzels. My jam.
I saw that they were doing
chunky,
poppable Yassos, but their macros aren't as good on those. So I'm like, why are these macros so good and these aren't? This is confusing to me. Just use whatever you're doing here to do those.
Mm-hmm. We can make poppables.
Yeah. That's essentially what we want to do with Cookie Dough Bites. But no, I think that there's the machinery side of things is really cool. So I would love to have people be able to tour our space. So the new design has it so that people can kind of come in and it's going to be kind of like that Ben and Jerry's situation. You kind of like walk through an area. It is going to be multi-use just because we're not a Ben and Jerry's, so I can't have a devoted area just for that. It's going to be kind of like our break room area, but you'll be able to come in. You'll be able to like see.
We're trying, guys. Okay, once we get Ben and Jerry's revenue, maybe we'll have something nicer. But in the meantime, we're trying to do cool stuff along the way.
Yeah, you'll have some, plexiglass that you can see through and watch production and kind of see some stuff. So. There's a lot of fun things coming, but it is going to be like someone may be eating their lunch over there in the corner.
Yep.
So it is what it is.
Say hi to the crew.
Yeah. But no, we're close on that. We submitted everything for the DO this week.
Yeah.
So as soon as we get the green light, I guess that's really ping to Adam and I have to get on the phone with all these.
City of Panama City, holler at us. Yeah. Just kidding. We'll be hollering at you.
Yeah, well, we got to start hollering at metal building manufacturers and all that stuff.
So if y'all know any metal building manufacturers, comment below.
That's true. I do get a lot of advice from people that follow us on social media.
Hey, guys, just so you know what we're doing, we're putting it out there. We're building a gigantic warehouse just right next door to us. So we'll need metal building and all kinds of stuff. And if you guys got cool ideas, we're going to do like a big kind of front facing. It's going to have like a cool presence. Maybe if the city lets us get away with it, eventually we'll do cool murals and stuff on it or just project stuff at it.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do projectors and do like movie nights.
Yeah, I agree. I found a cool projector. It's just a little expensive. But
well, we'll get there eventually, right?
Yep.
The problem with Adam and I is like we pretend we're already at the
destination.
And then you gotta
go,
and then we go, no, we're not there yet. So
the destination just keeps getting further. Well, I say further, right? We keep aiming higher.
Right.
Which is a good thing to have. So.
Well, I remember when and I guess it's not like that goal has truthfully changed that much, but I remember, saying probably 4 years ago, like my goal was $10 million in the bank and then have a house that's paid off because then I could retire.
Sure.
Right. And I don't think I would retire in the sense that, both you and I agree. It's like not retiring in the sense of like we're done working. It's retire in the sense of like I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. I retire like with freedom,
that's
freedom.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's like slowly changed because the truth is there's $10 million roughly probably wrapped up in the building. It's not realized in the building and the processes and the machinery.
If we wanted to squeeze juice, we could get it out, but then there wouldn't be anything to squeeze later.
Right. And so I think that my goal has changed a little bit, not from like a monetary side point. I think I just see what it could become.
Yeah.
And how much other people I can lift on the way.
Well, yeah, man, but it's also just bigger, right? Like how enough is enough. Well, shit, I don't know. I guess I could have retired a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I want to be bigger. I want to do more. I want to do bigger things. Like, yeah, I know we're going to make a bunch of money off this and everything else, and trust me, that'll be fun, but I've had months, where it's rolling in, and like if all you're doing it for is that, like it's cool to get big checks. It's cool to take them, I guess, to the bank and like the teller go like, oh wow, you got a lot of money in your bank account. But then it's like if that's all you do it for, you will have a shell of a life.
Right.
You won't be happy. So constantly aiming for higher and higher, whether it be to lift people with you, whether it be to lift the world. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Shit. At the end of the day, I want to know what I'm made of. And trying hard, is how you learn it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I think I've harped so much in our conversations on here about like defining like your goals in life and what success means to you, your why. Because I think that, someone reached out to me recently about business mentorship, and a lot of like the discussion they were like, they felt really burned out and all this stuff. And so I was just like, well, and I mean, it's new. Like they've only been doing this business for like a month. So I feel like you shouldn't be suffering from this like massive burnout and lack of motivation after a month. So I was just kind of like, I think you need to figure out like why you're feeling burnt out. Like what are you not filling up your cup, is.
I would say too, though, man, there's a trend to like whine or whatever. Like, I don't want to say the victim culture or whatever that we've got, but like, it's all in front of my face here. But like, I see people on it all the time that are just whining about their business. They'll have a pressure washing business or a landscaping or something, and it's just like, and it's like,
almost
I don't
like
understand.
They need people to be like,
I feel sorry for you.
It's so hard.
Right.
Good job. Keep it
like,
up.
I mean, you don't have to do the opposite and be like, everything's, but then again, like, this is your face to the public, man. So like, if I've got Adam's home restoration and y'all follow me and I'm just like, I hate my job, I don't want to do this, I don't like, are you gonna want to hire me?
Or if you're posting like, I can't get reliable help, all the help's like that.
Everything sucks, customers suck, like, okay, you're a business person now, stop with that, like, I'm not going to hire you. I'm not. Now, I'm also not going to hire the guy that's like prayer hands in front of the Lamborghini, like whatever this fucking culture is today on, social media.
Diamond
but like,
hands.
Yeah, diamond hand, But like, if you're just like, shit, I'll do a great example. Mangrove, Byron and them.
Oh, yeah.
Hustlers show up every day. They come here too quick when we call them. They work too, they're going to be successful. Like,
yeah,
full tilt, as successful as they want to be. And, they're great dudes. But, I think you would say they are, I'd put them in my class, regular people. I'm a regular person. Yeah. I just fucking show up every day, do the work that has to be, blah, 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 plod along. They're going to do it too. So,
I made the comment, truthfully, if you want to have a successful business, show up when you say you're going to show up, do what you say you're going to do, and you'll do really well, because there's not a lot of people. I'm telling you this we've dealt with numerous people in building this building and relationships that we've created and other friends that have businesses. If you want to be successful, show up when you say you're going to show up and just do what you say you're going to do. And you really will be successful.
Do what you say you're going to do, and then contact the customer before they contact you. If one of those two things has to change for life or whatever reason, right? Yeah. Things can happen. But I always looked at it like, man, shit. We were in landscaping, right? I had a gym. I was comfortable when I went to open the gym. Of course, everyone. What do you know about running a gym? Nothing, right? And then same thing with landscaping. What do you know about it? I said, I don't know. Grass exists.
I got that a lot with the cookies.
Yeah,
I really did. You have an engineering.
You're not a baker. Whatever.
You didn't go to school for
Fuck
business.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So it's like I didn't know until I needed to know, and then I figured it out. And I know we've touched on this before, but like, I can go read a history book and turn around and need a historical fact 2 seconds later that wasn't in that book. Was that useful time? Not in an entrepreneurial world.
Yeah.
Because that time spent dicking around reading that book, I could have found out that I needed that problem, found that problem, and solved probably 10 more problems that are so specific. So it's kind of tough, man. Yeah, that goes into that'll without going off on a tangent. That's like college too, right? It's like, what you learned is not important in college. It's did you learn the ability to learn
the skills? Yeah,
skills. Right.
I said that truthfully, you learn skills in college.
When you learn
the truth is, unless you're going into a field like engineering or medical field, or you're in an actual tech role. Yeah. College is really about teaching you to learn.
Yeah, so for me, when I'm looking at hiring somebody, the only thing that college kind of really does for me is, depending on the level that they've been in, or whatever the level they've achieved in their schooling, it lets me know that with some degree of certainty, somebody has told you have a deadline of this project, this many weeks from now.
Yeah.
And you were able to just get some grades and figure it out. That's all it tells me. It doesn't tell me if you did a good job. It doesn't tell me if you waited to the last minute and crushed it. It doesn't tell me if you
copied someone else.
Copied or took way too long to do these tasks because I don't know what the arbitrary tasks even were. I wasn't your teacher. So it's like it doesn't really, if I got a guy that's like, if I have a really highly college educated person and an intelligent person that I can tell through talking with them who's like, yeah, man, I come to work at 4 a.m. or I stay late or I do this or I do, it's just super flexible. Probably gonna pick that guy every day of the week anyways, unless I'm like trying to solve something. I mean,
that's the truth. There's kids that I was in college with, and I was like a B student, I guess. Truthfully, like a BC student. I graduated with just over a 3.0, but majority of that 3.0 was padded by like other stuff.
Sure.
But I was like a BC student. But I can tell you that I didn't put forth what I considered the extra effort to be an A student.
Yeah.
Because to me, it wasn't
worth your time.
Yeah, worth the time. So
that's one of the first kind of steps or whatever. There's that saying. Have you heard that about the grades? They say A students work for B student managers.
Oh, okay.
So the exceptionally bright, talented individuals actually work for B student managers who maybe weren't as talented, but with less intellect, they were still able to get nearly as much done and pass the same class you did.
Right.
Right. So the A students work for B students, who answer to C and D students who own the companies. Because again, it was like and you can look at it one way and you can say like a D student was dumb or a D student did the minimum work required to move on.
Yeah.
To get to the next task. And like, if I have a customer, well, put it this way. I was in Sonic drive-ins. They wanted a Sonic cheeseburger. They didn't want a Ruth's Chris cheeseburger.
Right.
Well, they may have wanted a Ruth's Chris cheeseburger, but they weren't paying for it, right? So as long as I got them that Sonic cheeseburger, which had a standard and had a price point, and both of which the customer already knew ahead of time because they were expecting something, boom, perfect. If I make a better cheeseburger, they're happier, but the next time they come back to that store and don't get that cheeseburger for that price, they're pissed.
Yeah.
So it's actually, I'm doing a disservice, that kind of consistency piece anyways.
Right, yeah.
But yeah,
well, yeah, I mean, I would go to study groups with my friends, and I remember I would stay for like an hour, and then they would stay for hours.
Yeah.
And then we'd get our test back, and Brad got an 82, and they got a 92.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't give up 3 more extra hours of my life to do that. Granted, I know you're at college to do whatever, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. To me, it just, yeah. And so I guess your analogy does make sense.
I guess all you do is when you go back to the reunions or you just fast forward, you go,
I will tell you, one of my friends, super smart, was the A student. He ended up being the lead engineer for SpaceX.
That's
so
killer.
Obviously that's not all the time that these people, are A students or, working for
he's working for
but
somebody.
Technically, Elon Musk, I don't know if he was necessarily an A student or not.
Yeah,
so
but I mean,
I know Gary Vee talks all the time about how he was the D student.
Gary Vee's all over the place. He's got a ton of energy, but Gary Vee also has a great thing too, and it's something we're doing here because we're scaling up. So he's got a great clip. Maybe we can add a link to it or something. But he says during the hiring practice, this is something too that like y'all can think about. So I've hired a ton of people, and it's easy to not fire a bad employee because your own ego gets in the way, because you have to say that, like I would have to say that I made a bad hiring choice, and that like hurts my feel. So instead of going, I gotta save him, you just go, I fucked up. I mean, he says he like literally fired a mid 6-figure executive after courting this dude for months the first day he brought him on, because he was like, oh shit, I can't work with this guy.
Yeah.
No, you'd have to be pretty bad for me to cut you in a day. So I don't know. Maybe he's exaggerating. Maybe he's not. I don't know. You got to.
Well, actually, I saw something that Layla Hormozi said the other day, and I don't remember 100% what it was, but essentially it was something like, if you put an A player around a bunch of B players, it increases the output of the B players by like 20%. Yeah. But if you put an underperformer around there, it cuts their output by, that felt like it was more, but maybe let's just call it 20%. But it does it for every single one you put around. So it becomes like this drop, and it's just happens so quick.
It's a morale drain, man.
Yeah.
If you put an underachiever, underperformer in a room with the same types of employees, they're making around the same money. They don't even need to talk about it, but at some point they're going to find out, and they're going to be like, Did some efforts making $1, $2, even $3 less than me an hour. I do so much more work than them. So it's a morale drain. So even like, yeah, I mean, they'll just be like, as soon as, if you will terminate those people or they'll find themselves. I didn't realize that this was happening on one of my crews when I had US Lawns, and the dude wound up having some issues. We wound up letting him go. And as soon as we let him go, everybody was like, oh, thank you. We hated that guy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me? They're like, we don't want to snitch on him.
Well, I mean, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
You know, that we had people here, a couple people. I like them, but, you know, when they left, so many people came to me and they were like, I'm so glad they're gone.
Yeah. It's always,
you know, and I was like, well, why didn't you guys bring up all these issues that you had with, and you know, and they were management. So I think that it's harder when it's the management, but like, yeah, everyone was like, yeah, I just didn't like the way that they acted or treated or whatever. So that was very interesting.
When it's weird because when morale,
because one of them thought they were like a rock star manager, you know,
okay.
So.
All right. Well, hey, address yourself. I always think that I'm the problem. So if that's the case, then I can keep getting better. So
yeah.
You know, like
extreme ownership.
Well, yeah, man. If somebody's like, man, I don't like the way you talk to me. Okay, I can talk different. Sorry. Or I can be, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
get over it.
Yeah, get over it, man. No, that's not a cohesive working environment. And at the end of the day, you know, like we talked about the kids thing and, you know, like kind of how it's similar to running a business or whatever. Doesn't matter. We're all a family here. The reason I like that word is you don't have to always like your family, but you have to get along. I know some people don't get along with their family. Hey, we go to Thanksgiving and I get in an argument with somebody about politics or something else. We don't have to like talk and joke, but like we can't be fighting. We can't not be in the same rooms. We can't whatever. So it's like that's kind of what the employee situation is like. We have to like everybody enough. We have to love Fat and Weird or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you need to invite them over to your house later.
Doesn't mean that.
Go out and get drinks
it
with
doesn't.
It's
it's very different. So it's like friendly. You know, if you can't make small talk during the day with your employee or with your coworkers, you're not going to want to work. I mean, like unless, I don't know. So it's kind of tough. There's a weird balance there, but you got to be friendly enough. But not so friendly that, like, you get upset when so-and-so something, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird line, man.
I think that's, truthfully, for me, the hardest part of entrepreneurship has been with the growth of the company coming, like, employees and employee management. And it's just because, at the end of the day, no one's going to care about it as much as you do. Mm-hmm. And it's a really hard thing to try to maintain the standard, which you do need to maintain a standard. You do. But you need to realize that the standard that you maintain for yourself may not be the standard that you can maintain like throughout the business. And I don't mean this to like lower your standards, but I mean, you can't expect
as you grow,
you can't expect that, someone that's working for you cares as much as you do because they don't. And it's an unrealistic expectation to have. So that's just like one of the things that was hardest for me to just come to terms with is that they'll care. They want to do a good job, but they're not going to care as much as you.
Yeah, and they're not thinking about everything, and they're going to come in on Thursday having gotten in a fight with their spouse the night before, got drunk, they're hungover, they're whatever. Who knows, man? They come in, they come into work sober, of course, but like people have lives, they're not paying attention, they're not doing whatever, so they may even mean well, but they may be distracted. It's tough, but at scale, your ability to cover down on everything all the time changes. Now, I will take it a step further and say that, and I think you do a good job at this. I think I do a good job at this. But like, as you grow, you still find holes and you fix those holes. It just means that the public is going to interact with holes every now and then.
Yeah.
That you're working to fix, but like, man, you go on a cruise ship. If there's a leaky window or something, they fix it and they're like, hey, chill out. And you just move about your business.
Yeah, I think I used to get really frustrated when everything wasn't perfect. That's something I had to really like.
Sure.
Someone would email us and be like, "There's a typo on your FAQ page, or this link isn't working." And I'd be like, why can't this everything be perfect?" But it's like the truth is, I can go to anyone's website and I could probably find something.
Yeah, well, and you also think things. We talked about that a little bit before, but things matter more. Like certain things might matter more than they do. So like somebody going like, there's a misspelling on your FAQ page. You're like, oh, people are going to think I'm an idiot. And it's like, no, most people can't read right anyways. They didn't even catch it. Just one person caught it. You get a cookie or whatever. Or you just, and truthfully too, I think as you get older, you learn to kind of like laugh at yourself a little more than maybe. I had a hard time laughing at myself when I was younger. I do it all the time now.
Well, the truth is, if someone thinks I'm stupid at this point, it's like,
okay, I'm stupid.
Yeah. You're right.
Yep, you're right.
But wrap it up. Don't forget, share this podcast, comment down below that you've shared it, and maybe tell us what your favorite part was. I don't know. The more engaged you are, the more likely you're going to win this. I'm just going to be honest with you.
We got books to give out. Books to give out. Maybe next week later we can talk about our little meeting with acquisition.com.
Yeah. That's our teaser. We met with the director
CFO
of acquisitions
and the CFO of acquisition.com.
Yeah.
And the Ben of acquisitions.
Well, I think his title was director of acquisition.
I think it was. Let me see.
I don't know.
Either way,
we'll bring it up next week. We'll have all the information for you. So, do hard shit. You're worth it.